Okay, technology. Miss Ginger King and her techie group, techie department, will report on what the department has achieved for this year. So, Ms. King. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you all again for the opportunity to come talk to you and share some, do you mind to? No? That's all right. Share our reflections on not only second semester, but the year as a whole as well. Just launch right into this. So I always come to you from basically two different sides, from the network side as well as professional development and instructional technology. So this is kind of ongoing with our network updates. We always address, we did through E-rate funds, we were able to refresh some of our wireless access points and purchase new ones for the new addition for the high school at a 70% reimbursement rate, which is always fantastic. We were able to address some security needs that we have, not only on the network side with our firewall that had been in place for many, many years, but also the content filter, which was Lightspeed that we've talked about a lot. That had been in place for about 10 years. We were able to, through E-rate funds, condense that to one appliance instead of two subscriptions. So we're putting that in place and tweaking that right now, as a matter of fact. And we've also done some security advancements with security cameras, some access control, or, you're using a badge instead of a key, which we hope in the future we'll be able to do that with so many more of our outside, at least the outside doors in our buildings, and limit the physical keys being distributed. And then we were also able in every building to upgrade the backbone switch to prepare us for a 10 gig connection throughout the ring that we sit on. So we right now are at a 1 gig connection, and as technology changes, we'll be able to now have 10 gig capacity. So that was wonderful. We're prepared. We're getting prepared. I always talk about bandwidth. We did update to 500 meg this year, and we didn't notice much with testing this year. I don't know that if Mr. Hounsome even had to send out an email making sure everybody's saving resources for testing time. So we were able to do that upgrade. We purchased additional mobile devices. We had the third grade pilot, which went really well. Just some reflections from our third grade teachers. They mentioned that students have become more independent when using them in class, that teachers have found that the constant access, and so just to back up for a second, every third grade classroom in our district has a dedicated Chromebook cart in their room. So it's accessible at any time during the day. They're not sharing it. So this is some of the reflections that they had for the pilot. Having them in their room has helped them to deliver both more engaging and differentiated instruction. And at map testing time, this is what I had hoped for all along, that they weren't struggling with the device itself. They were able to focus on the test. They weren't worried about the functionality of the device that they were using because it had become just part of their everyday life. So that was one of the keys for putting them in the third grade. Google Classroom utilization has really drastically increased this year. Teachers are really seeing the benefits of that. And then we are also having the devices in third grade and at the junior high. Throughout the middle school, we saw that ELL testing, MAP testing, and EOC testing went a lot more smoothly with all those devices, and I think that they could coordinate their schedules a little bit easier. And I think, didn't, Mr. Hanson, we shortened the window of testing time
Yeah, we were able
considerably.
to, obviously with more devices, we can test more at once, which means it shortens down the time that we have to, blow up the schedules in the building. So it helps a lot.
And we were talking about Google. We'll talk a lot about Google. We used some additional tools this year, including Google Draw, Adobe Spark, and some additional add-on tools as well. We also were very involved with our professional development resources that we have, not only the financial aspect of that, but also the time that is involved with all of our teachers that they invest in their professional development. I'll show you a slide here in a little bit about just some amazing things that our teachers have done and the time that they've dedicated to that. So some statistics on our Google usage. We have 5,451, that is students, staff, include faculty and support staff. If you have a login, you also have a Google account. So we have over 1 million, we have over 1 million Google documents that are stored that are, wonderfully, they're not stored on they're in the cloud. They're not in we don't have to worry about providing the storage on a hardware side on our end. So that's just cost savings for us as well.
Wow.
So a little bit about professional development. As you can see there, we still have our professional development days, we have release days, and we also still have some after-school sessions. I wanted to point out that in the right-hand corner there, the top tech PD hours, in our district, we have a minimum requirement of every teacher having 3 hours, and we had 3 teachers that had over 30 hours.
Wow.
Sarah Hedge, I believe, was a new teacher this year, and she had 33. She's at Wyman. She had 33 and a half hours. And Katie White and Kara Hanlon are both at the junior high and had 33 and 31 hours, which is pretty. That's some great dedication on their part. And not only are they growing themselves, but then they're taking that back, just like we want them to. They're taking that back to their class as well as the other staff in their buildings and training the trainers on that as well. So we are very fortunate to have a great group of people. So just a refresher, this is kind of I know it's really hard to read, but there's a lot to it. Our instructional technology matrix for this year. We still have some specialized groups where we pull, you can see the iTeach group, our Focus 2017, and our Focus, which was just brand new teachers. Our major emphasis on this was implementation of Google Apps through the use of Chromebooks. That was a major part of what we did this year and hit that with all of our groups. Every year, we take a look at this and see how we can make it better. So we send out surveys. We also talk with our teachers. This is just some of the survey results. I just wanted to hit a few little highlights for you all. And the bottom right chart there, so it's about, you can't see it, I'm going to tell you, 35% of the respondents said that they use Google Docs regularly, but I think what they find more valuable is the chart to the left, and you can see that we had about 210 responses, so about half of our teachers that responded are using Google Classroom regularly, and they're seeing the benefits of that, and it's the calendars that they're using. They're able to send out assignments. Their Google Classroom, several years ago we were talking about My Big Campus, for those of you guys that were here. It was a learning management system. It went away. We were panicked. Google has come in, and I don't believe that there is much that we are missing anymore, and this is free. We don't pay for this service. Of course, it's Google, and those of you who were around last week, we had a little glitch with Google, as well as the rest of the world, about 1 million people, but Google was very responsive to that, if you know what I'm talking about, that a little email that went out that was a hack, and they were very responsive. Within an hour, they had it shut down, everything taken back, and they had assured everyone. They actually even sent me a response of the people who clicked on it in our district that we were able to address then at that point, too. So Google is changing the way we do things. So we took our survey responses this year and we addressed what we would like to do for next year. And we're still talking with our administrators, with our teachers about how can we make this better. We've gone from building skills. When we first started this many years ago, we were worried about the technology skills of our teachers. It's not so much that anymore. It's giving them the resources and the time to not only learn those new skills, but then also to develop their lessons and work with us and the team while we give them, some little one-on-one training and as well as the group training. This for next year, we've tailored those. We've scaled those groups back. And the one new exciting thing that we would really like to do is the teachers in the iTeach 2018 and the Focus 2018 groups. We will give those teachers the opportunity to become Google certified. Google certified teachers, level iTeach, because of their skill level, and their integration that they're already doing, we believe that they can become level 2 Google certified teachers, and that is a $35 cost. To go to level 1 is $10 and level 2 is $25. So we think that And it's online training that they go through, and then they take tests, and they certify themselves. So that's something that and they will become trained trainers as well, something that we're hoping to work towards. In that same survey, we asked some professional development questions. And this graph shows us, we asked several questions on how do you prefer to receive your professional development. And the most favored option is currently how we're delivering it now. We have for the core curricular areas, we have a full release day where in the morning we work with technology, and in the afternoon they have curriculum development time, which could be comprised of us helping them with anything that they want us, if it's technology related, or they can just work on curriculum on their own. So that was the most favored. The CSD tech, that was worded as CSD during the, just for our CSD days, pardon me, that they would have grade level meetings then with their building principals. After school, which kind of surprises me because we had our attendance on the attendance in after school sessions this year were not that great. That people would sign up, right, guys? And then they would say, oh, we're not going to make it because it's a 1 hour. We've talked for years about the 1 hour after school is not as effective as our release time where you can spend devoted hours to it. But here's why I think why it was favored. Because the question said, if it was after school and you could get a stipend or rise time, and so I think that maybe the stipend had something to do with that being favored. And weekends didn't seem to be very popular, right?
It's a surprise.
You're right. So, and then from that same survey, I just wanted to give you guys just a couple quick graphs as well. So the training incentive, the question was, if PD was offered outside of contract time, what type of incentive would you like to see? And not surprising, monetary stipend was about 44% of that, and then kind of breaks down after that. We have the graph at the bottom, the benefits of tech training. I was really happy to see that 88 of them said that of the 210, gave it a 5, which was strongly in favor, and they believe that it's very beneficial to them. Mobile device usage, 43% are using it daily. And so paperless classroom, when I first saw that, I thought, oh, boy, but that's a big number. 52% aren't. That's less than 50% is using it. 52% are using less than 50%. So that was I tried to figure that out. So when we went back and looked at the respondents, the largest group of people that responded were K through 4. So I'm not sure that a paperless classroom really fits in every situation. So kindergarten would be kind of hard being. So you have to look at that, the responses there as paperless classroom. It doesn't fit maybe as well as it does in high school English classroom. So we've talked a lot about Google and our digital learning activities. Students are now, I just want to kind of mention students, when we first started bringing in devices and we integrated digital activities, it was bringing in this bright new shiny device and everything. Everybody got so excited, and that's not necessarily the case anymore. They're still excited to use technology, but it's more of an expectation that it's going to be there. It's not that it's the new toy that we've just wheeled in and brought in fun time. It's the expectation now. So speaking of devices, here's this year versus where we plan to be next year. And I'm not sure that you can see that at the bottom, but a couple things I wanted to point out that, first of all, the number of carts will increase from 101 to 124. And as you look down those columns, I hope that one of the things that you recognize is that iPads are still being used. There are still some very critical areas where they work better than a Chromebook. At the middle school, you can see they actually went up from 3 carts to 6, and that was Project Lead the Way. We put in the Project Lead the Way currently, the curriculum is based on an iPad, so we added some additional carts there, but you can see going forward, quite a jump from the devices, 32 iPad carts to 28, and the big jump, we will be adding more Chrome carts. And laptops, look at that, we went from 20 laptop carts to 3. We still have computer labs in several of the buildings, but as far as people wanting to use the laptop carts, they don't. They actually call or put a work order in or something and ask me to please, what can we do to get a Chrome cart? So that is a big shift as well. We very recently sent out a student survey, as recent as of today, as a matter of fact, so that you guys could have really
pretty
great
recent.
data on this.
Up to date.
It's fresh.
So it's fresh data. So there's the breakdown of your grade levels, who responded, and so you can kind of see access to the internet. As a whole, that group was 84% said that they had access to the internet. But to break that down just a little bit more for you, so because maybe maybe we need to look at what did the 8th grade through 12th grade, where you're really getting homework, where you're, that grade level. So about 40% of the respondents were grades 8 through 12. 44% of those said that they had daily homework outside of school. That use technology, sorry. Thank you, Brenda. 87% said yes, they have high-speed internet at home. And here's a really good statistic for you. Only 2% of those 8th through 12th graders that responded said that they didn't have a device of their own to use at home. So to address that, so it's still 2% though, right? We want to make sure that that 2% has equitable access. So we have decided that next year in the junior high and the high school buildings, whether it's the library or the office or wherever, Chromebooks are about $225, including a bag to put them in. So with the proper policy, we want to have a checkout to where those students can come down to the office, the library, wherever the building principal deems the best place, and we will have 5 or 6 Chromebooks that students can check out then at home. That doesn't always address the access to internet, but we believe that we're making strides towards equitable access, and we're addressing that accessibility gap. Still work to do.
What percentage of kids responded to the survey?
So we had, of our 4,100, we had about 1,200 students respond, and it was fast, so it's 25% of our students responded today.
In one day.
I don't know, Jamie, that percentage would, if we had even 3,500 of our students, I don't know that percentage would be much off from that. It might be a little bit higher. I would assume that it might be a little higher. I think the last time we polled that, it was about 87% of our students said that they had high-speed internet
correct.
access at home. So I don't know that, even though the numbers are smaller, I don't know that would be off too much. So looking ahead, obviously the thing on everyone's mind is building level transitions. We want to make sure that as people are shifting and grades are moving to different buildings, that we have the right tools for them technology-wise. I know that everyone is moving everything else, but we want to make sure that they've got in their classrooms either what they had in their previous buildings in 4th grade at Truman. We want to make sure that they have that in their 4th grade classroom at the middle school. So we are working very hard to make sure that we have access to provide additional student devices or whatever technology that they need. Maybe it's a document camera, whatever they're needing, we want to make sure that we address those needs. Again, through E-rate dollars, we want to make sure that we stay on top of our network infrastructure, because those are big ticket items when we look at those. And then our technology plan, it seems like it didn't do that all that long ago. Our technology plan is a 3-year plan that we utilize for our benefit now. It doesn't get sent to the state, but we develop it and use it as our guideline that was written in 2015. So we need to revise it next year. So we will be asking for your participation on our technology committee to give advice and your guidance as to where we need to take technology for the next 3 years. It's a moving target. And that is what we have for you this evening. I will say one other thing. I don't want to miss an opportunity to thank the team that I do work with. So we have you have a wonderful team behind me of people who work very, very hard, and the team that I have upstairs as well. So we've got a great technology department. Thank you all very much.
What is a cart cost of the Chromebooks?
So it just really depends on how many you want to put in it. Let's say you put in 28, and it's about $7,800,
Including the cart?
including the card itself.
And that would be a classroom set,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the English classrooms at the high school are a little larger.
Uh-huh.
So we really, when I am getting ready to make a purchase for next year, I didn't mention this, next year our elementary, the third grade pilot went so well, they want to push that to second grade. So our second grade classrooms will have Chromebooks in their rooms or an iPad cart, but every second grade class will have a mobile cart in their room. So we're looking at that, and I looked at the numbers of the first graders that we have, and so based on that, we're going to have about 25. So I scale that depending on
Mm. Yeah.
class size.
Okay, any other questions? Okay,
So the
thank,
new spam filter.
Yes. Oh, you got caught in it, didn't you? Yes, you did. So that was part of our new firewall. So the appliance that we put in for the firewall, the content filter, and it also is our mail archiving, spam filtering. So our last system got to know us over 10 years. We built the white list as well as the black list of emails that we didn't want to have in. So when we put that in place 2 weeks ago, it was blocking a lot of people. So we've been doing training on how to release that. But when we rolled it out, we hadn't, people weren't prepared. And so we've since then gone back and whitelisted. We've whitelisted all of your email addresses, so for the whole entire district, so it won't
But
just
what
be
if
one
it's,
person.
what if it's somebody who's just trying to contact administrator or something, and they've not contacted them before?
So we
My
really-
concern is, it keeps us safe from within,
Sure.
but what if people want to?
So every day, you get, every individual that has an email address here in the district gets a spam summary. So we really recommend that people look at those and manage the spam themselves, because that's where they're going to find it. They can look through that pretty easily. It goes into their inbox, they click on it, they scan down through the list and release it. And then you have the ability to log in a little further into it and say, you can release it one time, or you can log in and say, I want that released every single time it comes to me. And if I send you an email for the very first time, you get whitelisted and you're never blocked then.
Okay, good.
So, but people, really our staff need to to kind of self-maintain that themselves.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Good job to all of you. We appreciate it. I know the faculty does too.